Hello and welcome to Walpole United WFC. Hello and welcome to Walpole United with me, John Foster, MUFC, Birmingham City 0, Man United 2, match reaction show. Mark Skinner said that he wanted a reaction. He said that it was a very professional performance. He then starts calling us Space Raiders or Space Invaders, I should say, one or the other. Really made me laugh. Yeah, I was going to start eating some crisps when he said that. I was loving it. But really enjoyed to see a bit more positivity today. And I'm sure if someone had said to us at the start of the season, after 4 games, we'd be level on points with Chelsea, having played Chelsea, 6 points ahead of City, with all their injury issues as well, we'd have probably took that. Why? Because it means that we would have sort of chance of getting in top 3, which is what we kind of want. Lots of positivity after that result. Nat, I'll bring you in first. How you feeling, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. My voice has come back a bit. It was a great weekend. Just seeing everyone there, seeing the Villa boys and the Birmingham boys, whatever whoever they support. Chris is probably one. But it was just good. It was good seeing everyone again, being together for a couple of games, and then obviously getting the 3 points again.
Yeah, Emma, I know you've had a bit of a busy weekend at work here and there, and but what we all thoughts just on the win itself?
Yeah, good. Night shifts are not the one, just to let people know. But it was good. Like I say, it was a reaction. Obviously, we got the job done, and that's 3 points is all we really needed. Performance-wise, we'll probably look to next week for that, but we'll get to that. It was better.
Yeah, and we'll break it down. Obviously, there's a couple of negatives in there, I'm sure, but generally we got the points, and I think Skinner said it right. It was professional, wasn't it? Matt, how would you kind of describe the performance?
Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say like it was brilliant, but I think just like, we've just talked about, it was important to bounce back. We've done it. So I suppose, we can't complain. We've got the points. And I think, if you'd have said at the start of the season or in pre-season, out the first 4 games, you'll get 9 points. I think most people would have taken that. So, and, players and managers also sort of talked about that as well. So I'd fully agree. Like I say, it's just points on board. And something I said Saturday was, for me, if we can beat all those teams that are not top 3, so excluding, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, and when they have a fully fit squad, City, if we can beat everybody else, then we stand half a chance of, fighting for that Champions League spot. And I think the added bonus of obviously City having so many injuries is that if we beat them Saturday, pretty much out of at least the title race. So, yeah, going to be interesting, but good to get the points yesterday.
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, I think I might have said the same thing on a podcast or Twitter. We haven't really gone through a whole season yet where we've won every team outside of the top 3. And I think that in itself is like not easy to do. If you take it game by game, it should be, but obviously you've got to slip up once or twice, and we saw that ourselves last season. But I think if we do just manage to do that, that would be a massive achievement. I'll just touch on Tottenham a little bit, Emma, because you kind of mentioned it on the Friday Night Fan Forum, and they're doing quite well at the moment. What are your thoughts on them? Do you think they can still hold it out, or will their time come where they start slipping down a little bit?
I don't want to say I know I was right, but at the weekend I was right. They're just getting stuff right. Like I was going to say on Friday, but obviously we had a bit of a packed show. Rhian Skinner now has had a season to get used to the players, and she had a massive clear out, so she probably knew most of them weren't going to cut it or didn't want to play for Spurs. And sometimes you need that ruthlessness, and obviously it's paying off. Rachel Williams having a resurgence in her career in her latter years is actually quite good to see. As a neutral, so to speak. But yeah, I think they'll kick on, especially this season with City dwindling. There's ripe opportunity for them to do better than they did last season. So
yeah. Nat, I'll bring you in. First of all, we'll answer that one. Yeah, yes, we was there. Nat, we want to get to the United game. Obviously, we should be starting the show on that, but we did go to that other game as well. Shall we just quickly touch on that game as well then? That was an interesting game. So let's quickly talk about the Arsenal and Villa game.
Yeah, I was at Arsenal Villa, Villa Arsenal at Villa Park. We were all there. I know, well, Emma wasn't, but the three of us were there. It was a good game. You know, everyone expected Villa to lose. No, Villa fans were a bit upset. Well, one that I was sitting next to was a bit upset. Even Carla Wall was a bit upset, you know, just the manner in which they conceded the goals. But Arsenal have pretty much romped it at the start. Doesn't mean they're going to go and finish it and, you know, win the league. But I sort of said, here goes out and signs Tobin. Will look like doing it. Obviously, they beat Chelsea at the start. They've had that little start where their pre-season was like the Champions League game. So they sort of had that head start, I suppose, over everyone to get up to speed. And now you're pretty much seeing the best Arsenal. I think they'll be disappointed though, Villa, with a lot of the goals. Everyone knows I big up Carla Ward a lot. And yeah, she didn't look happy at the end, but you don't want your manager looking happy after the lose. And that's Villa, you know. Even though it was just 4, she was still unhappy, and as she should be. But, you know, they're not looking to compete with Arsenal or us or City, and they're sort of that second tier down, you know, 6th, 7th. I sort of thought that Tottenham would be around that second tier down. I thought they would be a lot lower than what they are. They're doing well. You know, because I think I said it to Matt or you, John. You know, I think it's Tottenham, Everton, and Brighton that I think those are the ones that I'm really sort of more worried about. I think West Ham as well, but from what I've seen, they can be on and off kind of thing. But, you know, I think these are going to be the games. I mean, I think Reading, bottom of the league, okay. You know, Birmingham down at the bottom. But, you know, I think this Saturday is going to be a big game. And I think then, like I said, those teams against those 3, 4, those will be the ones where I'll be most nervous.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, did you see it as a 4-0 game? Because I think the first half, I think Villa had a game plan to stay organised and to try and limit Arsenal to kind of put in balls into the box, which I think they dealt with okay. It was pretty much 50-50, so it could have fell to a medium arm or had a lucky bounce, but it didn't. And they went in a half-time 0-0. But then all of a sudden, one kind of fluke goal with a deflection over the goalkeeper's head and one goal that really shouldn't have really happened. You know, that fantastic goal, a lob of the goalkeeper there. But to me, that was more of a kind of a 2-0, 3-0 game, which I suppose would have been a bit more respectable. But how did you kind of see that scoreline in the end there, Matt?
I think, you know, you said it there, you know, first half, they had a game plan, it worked, and they were good. And I think, like you say, barring a deflection and the keeper making a mistake with the kick that led to the lob, you know, they're always in the game. But I think some of the comments I read from Villa fans saying, 4-0 flattered Arsenal. I mean, not for me. I think if Arsenal, if Miedemar was actually on form in the first half and the others that missed and the chances that flew over the bar and were just wide, you know, Arsenal could have had more. They were quite wasteful in the first half. But that's also a credit to Villa. I'm not going to knock that. I just disagree with when they said, 4-0 was, flattering for Arsenal. I certainly don't. Listen, you look at your bench, and if you can bring on Tobin Heath, Iwabuchi, and Leah Williamson, come on, that's just unreal. So you can't really, I wouldn't be too disappointed as a Villa fan because, for 45, 50, maybe 55 minutes, they're very good. But it's like I said to you, John, at half-time, and Gareth, you can't sit back for 90 minutes. It just doesn't work. Not against a side of that quality. It might work against, I don't know, maybe a Man City at the minute with all their injuries. And, even then, something, and Emma was there with me on Wednesday, City first half struggled and Leicester sat back, and second half they come out and, they absolutely hammered them. So it works to a degree, and I can understand why Carla did it. But listen, like you said, that result doesn't define the season. I think they can take that and they can think, well, actually, do you know what? Next time we play a Chelsea or even us, we might do that, but we might maybe look to move it quicker on the counter, because I felt a little bit sorry for Boy Holorka. She was kind of up there on her own, fighting for everything with no second press. So she'd press it, she'd get beat, and there was nobody else there. And I think, maybe with a little bit more, maybe if, Alicia Lehman would have pushed up or, somebody else, they would have, could have potentially nicked something. But they had chances, like I say, first half, I think it was Boy Holorka hit one actually from about 30-odd yards and, the keeper tipped it over. And I think if that goes in, you're looking at a different game. But, yeah, credit to Villa.
I got to about 80 minutes and I think it was 2-0 then. I thought, 2-0, yeah, all right, fair, that's a good shout for Villa. I'll go and watch Strictly. Well, that went down, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what annoyed because I just heard her speaking after. I think that's what annoyed Carla. It's like you're 1-0 down or you're 2-0 down, 70 odd minutes, and then it's the 3 and it's like 2 in 10 minutes. I think that's what probably annoyed her more than anything. But listen, that's what I like to see. I like to see people getting upset when they lose, you know, and she's Villa's manager and they're getting upset at 4-0. You know, she's thinking, you know, keep it to 2, keep it respectable. You know, so that would have been good result for them. And I know obviously we'll go on to everything about Birmingham and about what was said.
Just finishing up on that then, Emma, I think there's only probably one team who can kind of critique Man United at the moment, and that's Arsenal. They're looking very firm favourites. Obviously, Chelsea still equal on point with us, so they can't laugh too loud just yet. But Arsenal looking strong, aren't they? Would they be your kind of favourites now for the league?
I said them to win the league at the start of the season because, like I say, I've followed women's football for a long time. Their new manager is special, and they've always had good players. It's just playing them superstars all together. Pedro Losa had an incredible team, but couldn't get them to play together. I think Eideveld will do something special, unfortunately. But we'll see where they're up to tomorrow when they play Barcelona.
Yeah.
And see how they go up against how Chelsea did. Yeah, it'll be a rough match for them, but we'll see how they go.
I'm not so sure Chelsea did go up against them, though. I don't know if we can call it that.
They attempted to in the first match. They went downhill.
Chelsea turned up anyway. We'll give them that.
They come up for the red money.
There's over 20 people watching, so please hit the thumbs up. It really helps support the channel. Connor's excited about next week, and we might touch on that towards the end of this show. But let's talk about the game that we're here to react to. 2-0. We got Russo on the thumbnail. Nats, just start off with yourself. We called for her to start. We wanted her to start. We knew she wouldn't play the full 90, but we kind of wanted to see where she was at, and I'm sure this is what the coaches were like as well. Let's see, where she is from the start. Starters, you mean to go on. I think she got, was it 45 minutes? Or I can't remember how long she got. I can't remember when she was subbed off.
60
minutes, was it? Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Well, first of all, I think it's an obvious question, Nat, but how do you feel that she got on?
Oh, quality is what we needed. I think I just want to give a little shout out to Jack as well from Leicester Fan TV. Hey, mate. It's what we needed. I think I can't even remember who it was on the women's football show, but they were saying about just how she was running at people, driving, she was holding it up, she was linking up play. I think even when the second half, when Tooney was like 10, I think it was even better because her and Tooney were linking up really well. I did like Tooney on the right wing as well, but I just, just the way she was dribbling, the way she was moving the ball, the way she carried it forward, there's times when she had to drop a bit deeper. But I think once he brought on Hansen on the wing, she didn't, they would drive. It was Hansen, Leah driving, and, she was down the middle, and that's what you want to see. And I think towards the end as well, when Leah got her, I know we're going to touch on her, but, when she got those crosses in, you were thinking, and obviously Lesia came off, you're thinking, God, if Leslie was on, Leslie would be on the end of a few of them. It reminded me of the West Ham game, that we had, and like Leah just crossed it in, bang, right on Alessia's head, and I think we're going to get a lot of goals like that this season. I agree with Vicky. It was very direct, and I think I liked what I didn't know about Leslie, and I knew she could run with the ball because I think we've seen a goal. But it was the dribbling, it was the quick feet, moving it from a left foot to a right foot, beating players, jinking in and out, and yeah, it was good. You could tell she's got that kind of saying determination. Like she's been out, she's missed the half the season, pretty much the whole season last year, and you can tell she's getting. I want to be. I'm the number 9. I want to be down the middle. I want to show myself. And, it's great to see. And, when I think Connor even said it in his fan cam, when can play that full 90 minutes, pray for the rest of them, pray.
Well, do you think that's kind of it's going to be our strongest front four? We've been calling for since the start of the season, but we haven't had a chance to see it. But with Tooney in the centre, Galton, Hansen, and then Russo.
Yeah,
I would throw a bit of a spanner in there, though. I think Lucy's actually done okay. I don't think she's at Tooney level. But if ever Tooney was to play it wide for me, and it's unfortunate because it's always Hansen that seems to make way Same as last season. She started the season really well, but of course Heath and Press came in, and then she's the one that had to make way. And it looked like yesterday she made way for Russo, and we kept Staniforth on. I mean, can you see like Staniforth kind of keeping her place there? That
I don't know. For me, I think like what you said, isn't it? It's not that, Staniforth isn't good enough or anything. I just think Tooney's that. I know, the ceiling's so high for Tooney. Tooney can be whatever she wants to be. And I know, like, Stanny's got a lot more experience than her and, has probably played in all different types of games that Tooney hasn't. But, I'd have Tooney as a 10, me, and then I'd have Leslie in front of her. But I don't know, maybe he's going to change it up until he can play Leslie for a full 90 minutes. I don't know.
Shout out to Andrew in the comments, by the way. He came to his first Man United women's game yesterday. Nice to meet you, Andrew, and you can see more of Andrew on the main account on All For United, talking about the men's team. So, thank you for coming, Andrew. I know it was kind of very short notice as well for you, so great stuff. Just sticking with Russo for the time being, Matt. Like I said, we all called for it. We knew what was kind of going to expect, but I think she's actually done better than I thought as well, because first start, she hasn't been fit. She's still not 100% fit now. But the way she was like powering past some of those players, at one point she had 3 on her, and she still managed to get a couple of crosses in. Any surprises, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not going to say surprise, no, because I've seen her do that. There was a reason why she was top scorer in the under-17s England squad back in the day, even though England got knocked out in something like the quarterfinals. So no, not surprised. I think, she's always been like that. The only thing that we're missing now is a couple of those 30-yard top corner shots. Judging by yesterday, I think she's still maybe finding her shooting boots. A couple of times when went a little bit diagonal and off target, but hey ho, it happens. But yeah, just good to see her back. I think what they're doing is what I heard from sort of some of the parents of players saying, they're going to ease her in and ease her back and really manage her properly. And that's what it's needed, I think, not just her, but with all players at times last year, and maybe even the one before, we might have been guilty of rushing a few people back. And I think, managing her carefully, she got a little bit first game of the season against Reading, then they built it up, and, she got a little bit more against Leicester, and then obviously Chelsea again, she got half time, and then built it up to 60-65 yesterday. And I think City's the one for me now where we should try, full 90 if possible, if not maybe 80, 75, and just keep building it like that. But it's good to see her back. But yeah, I'm not going to too much because that's killing myself for tomorrow's show when it's her and Tooney. But yeah, those are my brief thoughts.
Well, I just think Twinney did well. She did a good job. Yeah, I think doing a full 90 on City will, I think, happen. It depends how many we win by. If we're smashing it by the 70th minute, maybe even Ferreira Fuso coming on or Carey, or you can just manage it that way. Obviously, it'll be game management. But as a lot of you know that on here, I've followed Russo since the UNC days, and she's just ridiculous. I'll actually, if it's all right with you, John, I'll post a link on the All For United of one of her goals from UNC. It was it's just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind she was like 18, 19 at the time. It's another level. But yeah, like I say, I think we're always caught in between that, managing it because for long term, but we know she can do it, so we want to see it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes on City, but a movement and everything on yesterday was ridiculous. And like you say, she gets the ball and you're confident that she's going to take on those 4 or 5 players and get past them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some players get the ball and you'll see them start going on a run. You think, oh God, here we go. But when Leslie's got the ball, that it's going where it needs to go, whether that's in the box or wherever.
Yeah. Nat, I mean, just finishing up on Russo. I mean, we haven't actually seen any kind of downside against her just yet, because she's only had that one massive injury, obviously a couple of setbacks, but we haven't seen any kind of negative to her yet. I mean, there's some strikers or players that you can see where you say like, oh, they're good at this, but they can't really do this. And with that kind of dribbling, I mean, I'm not going to upset Emma too much. That's why some fans wouldn't mind seeing her on the wing and playing like a brand new striker.
I just think she's too good for the wing. I wouldn't put her
agree.
on the wing. I think she's too good. I think Tooney's too good for the wing as well. That's why I wouldn't. That's why I'd have her centrally, because I just think I'd rather have Tooney in and around like the edge of the box to have a shot. And like what Craney says, yeah, I've not seen the 30-yard scheme, but there was one I think that Mannion shared from training, and it's, you know, in front of the goal mouth, bang, shoot. You know, that's why I want to see them two centrally, and they linked up for the Chelsea goal. So if they can do it against Chelsea, Magda and the other one, Millie Bright, you know, I want to see them doing it against Jill Scott for Man City as a centre back. You know, because I think she can run at someone like Jill Scott, Alex Greenwood. They're passing together. For me, that's what I want to see. I know Stuart said there, and I know you just dropped that, but about Martha, and you know, Martha's got that number 9 now, and she'll be wanting to sort of, you know, I suppose it's that one who's someone we can bring on. You know, like we're saying about Alessia, we don't want to rush her, but you still want to have that focal point. So it might be like start Alessia, and then if Martha can do like 15, 20 minutes, so you still got that focal point there. Because I think that's what we did sort of miss when she came off. And I think at times, probably I didn't notice it as much until she did come off, because then when Leah started putting the crosses in the box, there wasn't that person there on the end of it. And you're thinking, where are they? Where are they? They're thinking, oh, they're all midfielders. That's why they're not in the, you know, on the edge of the box waiting until like Blundell whipped in the ball and Tooney's there, bang, you know, and she's the one who's got that predator kind of thing, Tooney. But yeah, I want to see, you know, I know like people say, oh, you know, Leslie is different class, and I think Leslie is, but I do want to see that competition between Leslie and Thomas, and I want to see, you know, Martha will probably be upset that she's been injured, because now Leslie's sort of took the mantle. And I'm sure then Martha will want to prove to everyone, like, listen, I deserve to be here, and I'm going to take the spot off Leslie. And, you know, that's what I want to see. That's what I've always wanted to see. Yeah. 2 players for every position.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying, isn't it? And, you know, if Martha does do well in training, then there is I would not be surprised if we don't see Martha at some point this season, Martha up top and Russo out wide. Sorry, Emma. And I'm not saying I want to see that.
I don't mind her out there. It's just she's better at top.
No, and I agree. But it just always seems to be Hanson the one to sacrifice, and it's such a shame because she's done so well through pre-season and the start of this season. But to get Russo on the pitch and Martha Thomas, if that's his favourites or if that's what he's got in mind, then that might be a way. And it's not a bad thing, you know.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know if it was because he did say, I don't think he did say that Hanson missed the training session for a little niggle.
Yeah, I think she had a bit of a knock.
So I don't think it was. Yeah. I get where you're coming from. I think it's more to like cover that, make sure, because then when I think Hanson came on, she changed the game again, and it was I think it was, you know, not in a horrible way, but it was better with the 2 wingers and then the 2 fullbacks and then your central players.
Matt, you know, speaking like this, when everyone's fit, do you think that we are as light as we kind of made out at the start? Because when everyone is fit, we have kind of got 2 people for each position. You might need to like jockey him around a little bit, but you know, when everyone is fit, is it really that bad?
On the wings, I'm going to say yes, because I'm with Emma. I've seen Alessia out wide on the right, and just no, it's just a waste. I think wide. I think the thing for me is that, you know, we're all saying Hanson was looking to be dropped, and I agree. And prior to yesterday, Leah was off form, and she was still getting in. And that could have been a chance for Fuso maybe, but we've not really seen her and what she can bring due to injuries, and then not been given chances. So I think, probably on the wing we're light. As Stu says there, defenders, central defenders especially, yes. I think when Smithy's back fully fit, you know, that's probably the next cover for fullback either side. Obviously we've got our goalkeeping competitions now, so you know, I think that, you know, like I say, mainly just centre half, one centre half, and if we can bring kind of a wide player in, then that'll be good. Obviously we've got Carrie as well, and like I said, Fuso, so it's just more experience for the wings for me. Like Carrie and Fuso are young, you know, it's unfair to sort of say to one of them, you know, let's go and replace Leah, and then people expecting like, you know, miracles. But it's what it is, you know. Like I said before, if we can beat everybody outside of the so-called top 3, or we'll call it top 2 now, then, you know, let's see what we get.
I just want to add on that little point about Shaw. I do think it's better. It is like we do sort of have that one player for every position, sort of like you say, jacking them about. But I think it's even seen with injury crisis. If we lose even another centre back, then you know. So I do think there needs to be more brought in, and I think even Stu came on the show after Chelsea and sort of said he's going to be backed, and I think everyone's sort of in the position now that they're expecting him to be backed in January. Go and get someone, whether it's another, you know, I think, what was her name? Karen Carney was saying last night, I read something, you know, that would just short of another number 9 or something, you know. Maybe she didn't think about Thomas, but, you know, maybe she did. And she says, no, still going to get another attacker in there. But, you know, you can never be too short, I think. You never have too many. I think get more in. That's my 2 pence on that.
Skinner says, like, it's a team game, it's a team effort, you know, all this kind of stuff. So it's only fair that if you win 2-0, we need to start talking about the rest of the team as well. So we'll move from the goalkeeper up to the top, and we'll probably finish with maybe Leah Galton as well. So we'll start at the back, and Matthew was standing next to me at the ground, and we kind of joked a little bit about Mary Earp. It took like 55 minutes to get a proper touch on the ball, pretty much. Yeah. I don't know if that was a fact or what, Matt, but...
no, that was good stats, that, John.
Obviously, she had a bit of a quieter game than Rambar, but what were your thoughts on the defensive side of things there, Matt?
I mean, to be fair, John, it's difficult to say, and I know that's going to... Well, it is. I'm just going to say, you know, Birmingham were woeful up top. I think everywhere else, to be fair, they could probably be pleased, and I'm sure Birmingham fans, you know, whoever, maybe Craig's watching something, you know, the back line didn't look dreadful. They had Rambo, who I talked about when I saw her against Everton, you know, done fine. Midfield was okay as well for them. You know, I thought actually Pennock, even though she got subbed, you know, I'd probably say she's one of the better players. But just up top, they don't seem to have a lot. I understand the way they set up doesn't do them no favours. And we fully expected them to sort of, you know, sit back. But I think for us, you know, I saw somebody bringing water bottles, and I did say to, who was next to me now? Oh, I said to Gareth, I said, open M's for Mary, because she looked absolutely frozen until, like you say, the 65th minute, where that was their only shot on target. Well, yeah, I think it's like I said, it's difficult to judge because of obviously the quality of opposition. But, you know, what it did allow was, you know, for us to get Owner and Blundell higher, and, you know, higher than they'd normally maybe go, without worrying about needing to, you know, absolutely bust the gut to get back. And yeah, Hannah got 2 assists. She should have scored actually as well. But, you know, we got the win, so can't moan too much. But yeah, I just think it was what it was, wasn't it, really? I don't think Mannion and Thor were massively troubled. I don't think the fullbacks were troubled, and it just allowed for something different. Like I say, you know, to mix it up. I was listening to what Skinner said afterwards about finding spaces, and I think somebody, it might have even been Hannah herself, said, you know, she was given the sort of wide role to attack, and it meant that, you know, more midfielders and forwards could sort of be in and around the box or time in a late run. So I suppose it was good for seeing that, but I can't really, you know, big up the back line and Mary, because they barely had much to do, to be fair.
I did notice actually, Thor did misplace a couple of passes, and Mary's distribution just gives me a complex. It just gives me a tick. It's not. I know it's only Birmingham, but if she does that, well, as we found out against Chelsea or any of the bigger players, teams, we're just it's a nightmare. So at least that was addressed against Birmingham to an extent. But yeah, we didn't have much to do really, did we? Apart from the outside back. I've been watching too much American football. Oh my God.
Well, I guess it shows how good like the midfield battle was. Obviously, we must have won the midfield battle if our defenders weren't tested, which is great. And we'll move on to midfield shortly. And Ian, that comment, I agree. I think that away atmosphere yesterday, and that match, you've been to plenty of away days. I think that support, the amount of people that we had there, the amount of people that were standing and chanting, people that I've never seen before. I don't know if they live in the Birmingham area, and that's why they came. Even the fans that weren't singing and standing, the fans in front of us, they was loving it and turning around and encouraging us. And at one point, Natalie nearly got, when we started singing "Stand Up If You Love the Reds," we've never actually managed to get the whole stand standing up, but that was the closest we got yesterday. So a big shout out to all the Man United fans who came to Birmingham, because that atmosphere, I agree. But you couldn't hear it on Sky. I don't know if the microphones were turned round or I'm not too sure. But my dad said he couldn't really hear us as loud as usual.
Second half, John, it got moved because I did notice that. Do you know the cameraman that was on us after we scored the first goal?
Yeah.
Took the little fluffy mic thing, the one that looks like a dead ferret, took that down the bottom end with the camera. So that probably played a part because it was down with about 20 Birmingham fans that were just sat there like statues. So it is what it is.
I heard, I was told that people could hear us, like, I think probably when it just started. So I don't know, maybe it's at which point you tuned in out. I'm not saying your dad wasn't watching from the start, but
no. I think he could. No, he could hear us. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That's how loud it was. I would have expected it to be loud because I watched it back on MUTV, not Sky. But and he just couldn't grasp it how loud it actually was on MUTV at least. But a bit of a shame. But
I think it did echo a bit, didn't it? I think because where we were at the bottom, it did sound louder than. No, it didn't sound louder than what it was, but it did echo a bit. And I don't know. I think it was good, to be honest, where we were sat. It was right near the bench. I know some people were saying just before we went, we were worried could we see it all, but no, it was a good view where we were, and
it was. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I think just on atmosphere though, John, because obviously you were sat separate, or you all were sat separate to me at Leicester, and I to be fair, it's something to do with like men's grounds for me, because Leicester and Birmingham, I'm assuming, a similar size, and at Leicester it was difficult to hear you, and we were next to the dugout, and I mean the clappers didn't help, but it's just because it's so empty in terms of whatever 20, 27, 28,000 empty seats. But then you could hear us when Sky came down back to our end, so it's definitely mic placement plays a big part, and obviously, like you said, being in a men's ground, it sort of echoes, doesn't it?
Matt, I left that one on screen for you because I know you like your tactics. I mean, we never really seen us play three at the back, but against the bigger teams, three at the back, is there a benefit of that one maybe?
Against the bigger teams, I wouldn't like to risk it. That's just me. I'm not a risky. Well, I am and I'm not, but I think just in terms of Man United and obviously wanting to win is different for when I coach, and it's more on sort of development and learning. But no, I think, listen, it could work. I'm not going to rule it out, but I just think I'd rather be testing it, because the way Chelsea do it is obviously, the 3-4-3, they have the two sort of wide players of that four dropping back. And I think, potentially with Ona and Hannah, that could work, yes, but it does require discipline, massive discipline in central midfield to cover. And I don't think with the players we're playing at the minute, we have that. Could it work with Hayley Ladd and Bo Rita as a pairing? Absolutely. But unless we change something, I wouldn't necessarily be, maybe test it out against something like a Spurs or a Brighton, and, for something different, those teams Nat talked about where they are improved, and see what we get. But, I'll always back being unpredictable and changing things based on your opposition. Just maybe not until we've nailed it would I bring it in against sort of top. Listen, it's taken Chelsea a while. Chelsea got demolished. Was it 5-0 by Arsenal? Through literally starting off with that new style. So for me, it does need building in. But, like I say, definitely wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, I think we've got to kind of master our plan A first, haven't we, before we start doing it.
And nail our favourite starting 11, or our best starting 11, should I say.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, moving on to midfield then. Emma, you touched on it a little bit earlier with the fact that the defence didn't have much to do. But we'll start off with Jackie, because Jackie is this close to scoring. She'll probably score on a game that I won't attend, which is just our luck. But I think that was probably her best game this season. I appreciate it against weaker opposition, but she did manage to find a lot of space. She was in the box a lot more, which is what I want. We want to see Jackie up there. Just your thoughts on Jackie today and throughout the whole season, really.
Jackie, I live on just in front of a canal. I was nearly in that canal when that ball bent near that top corner. I was ready. I was diving off the top end.
I cheered thinking it was in.
It was. We all need that Jackie goal. I think she's saving it for the weekend. She's getting that a bit closer. Jackie's just Jackie. She's just everywhere all the time. She did make a couple of missed passes, but the amount of positive things that she does do outweighs it. Obviously, going forward, doing the dirty work that people don't see, blocking people off so other people can make space, and it's just Jackie. She's one of our best signings, overall ever. Yeah, and I think going forward, I think whoever it was, I think it was Danielle van der Donk told her to shoot more or get further up the pitch. Fair play to her because we are reaping the benefits. And hopefully, like I say, it won't be too long till we get that Jackie Gronin goal.
I think it's great the fact that we can banter and she's smiling at us at the end, cheering and everything, because I think we started the chant. What was it? Something about she'll score
Jackie
when she
scores.
wants.
We're on the pitch, and she'll score when she wants.
Yeah, and she
will be on that pitch. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah. I think they're actually worried that will actually happen. I can't even remember it. There was something at both you two. It was on when we won the league, and someone actually did run on the pitch, and I thought we're only joking. Remember when we won the league?
Yeah.
Someone actually run on the pitch, I think. But I think it was someone's daughter or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
But like I say, I've got a couple of lines from the bottom. So if she scores, I'm on that pitch.
Well, I was on my knees, literally, like I just saw it, and in fact, I did, and I was ready, and then
everybody's was
dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on Andy's back as well. I was cheering because I genuinely thought it went in. And obviously, he found out afterwards it didn't. I think Anthony was right behind me with his loud voice. We all thought it was in. And it's just a matter of time. And to come close a little bit before then as well. So, no, she's having a great season. I'll left that comment on screen. We'll talk a little bit about this in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to talk a bit about my local team in Stourbridge. But that was a good game that we went to as well before the Birmingham game. But we'll touch on that one a little bit, maybe on Gareth's show tomorrow. And then obviously, Katie Zelem started. We was a bit undecided whether or not she would start or would she be rested, Risa or Hayley Ladd. Zelem started. She was the one that played the through ball to Blundell, who got the assist for Tooney's first goal. Matt, I'll come to you on this one. Just your thoughts on Zelem's game compared to the previous game against Chelsea.
I mean, it's difficult to compare to Chelsea because you're kind of sort of comparing opposition like Chelsea and Birmingham, aren't you? And it's a little bit like, you're going to look better against Birmingham than you are to Chelsea, to be fair. But, I was sort of surprised. I thought, like a lesser opposition, we might have rotated it. Because I actually thought when Bo Risa came on, that sort of that final ball to the sort of attacking players looked a lot better. And, sort of, like I say, Risa and Hansen coming on for me, sort of give it a different dynamic and changed it. But it's one of them, she's still in there. Some people like it, some don't. Some say it because she's captain, some don't. So, like I say, it's difficult because it's two completely different teams that she's played against. But, yeah, it's one of them, like I say, we've got midfield options. We've been crying out for midfield options. I think the only thing I would like to see is just actually can we pass the ball forward, without going too harsh. Yesterday, I didn't count very many passes forward. And I think sometimes, do you need to take an extra touch and spin around and go backwards? Possibly not. I'd like to see, like I said, I'd like to see a little bit more, one touch, two touch, bang, let's go forward, let's drive it forward. And listen, we all know she's not a holding midfielder. She never has been. And I've seen her pre-United, at Liverpool. And, she like I say, she wasn't putting defensive midfield there. But, if you're told to do a job, you do a job. So, yeah, I suppose that's all I can say. Really. Like I say, just like to see a little bit more forward. And I think, listen, she's more than capable of shooting herself. So, if she passes forward and gets herself forward, then you might see a better performance or a better version of her. But, yeah, one of them. It's just options, isn't it, I guess? And we can see what happens on Saturday. I'd like to see Hayley start Saturday, actually, but I'm not the gaffer, so never mind.
I think I would as well, but I've got a feeling that he might stay with his usual three, and that's why I wanted to speak to Emma about as well regarding like Lucy Staniforth. Twice she started, twice she's been subbed off at half time. Are you kind of surprised that she's getting so many starts, Emma? Because I am, because I didn't.
Well, I think yesterday was more tactical because she got that yellow that wasn't a yellow, and then a few dodgy fouls. So that was more tactical than anything else. I think she's had a bit of a resurgence this season, to an extent. Like I say, she's been niggling with injuries, and obviously she won't mind me saying. I hope she's not one of the spring chickens of the team, but we need that experience, and she's leading on the front foot, especially at Chelsea. She was one of our best players, trying to create chances off little or no service. She's getting in them spaces, but it's just sometimes it is that unnecessary foul. And just giving the, obviously it's only Birmingham, I say only Birmingham, giving them opportunity. Whereas if we do it with other teams, even teams like West Ham that obviously yesterday can score and from like set pieces and things like that, but it's just unnecessary sometimes. One thing I need to say about Stanley Forth, and some of the people probably on here will understand, she needs to change her boots. Since we went to the Glasgow game, every game she ties her laces at least 5 or 6 times. And I saw it at Glasgow and I was like, "Oh, new boots, it's all right, we're good." But I noticed it yesterday as well. I was like, I think you need new boots." But that might be the issue. But yeah, she's a good addition. Until we start getting a final definition of midfield, then. She's a good shout, but then until we start strengthening, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, for me, I think I like her in there. Like you say, it's the experience. She looks good, I think. But I just think it's hard. I don't want to say, drop her or anything. I don't think she deserves to be dropped. But I just feel like I said before, Tooney is probably better in there, that kind of position. Touch on someone like Hayley Ladd. For me, I think it looked a bit more when we played Chelsea and then Ladd came on. And there was times where Jackie was giving it away versus Chelsea. He said she was misplacing passes versus Birmingham. I think you're always going to get that with Katie or Jackie. I think the thing is with it, I think for me, Ladd is a 6. Jackie and Katie, and even Risa to an extent, are the 8s. And then Tooney and Stanley are the 10s, and I think you need to play a 6, 8, and a 10, especially versus City. I think you need to play someone who's going to break up the ball, who's going to put in the big tackles. I mean, Katie can put in tackles, Jackie can put in tackles, Tooney can put in a tackle, but I think you need that 6 to be playing in there. Yeah.
Question though, 100%. I'm just
100%.
thinking, do you think she would have been brought in if we didn't have such an injury crisis, just in case there's a backup for Tooney?
Who? Stanley?
No, Stanley. Because they're one and the same to an extent.
Yeah.
I don't know whether.
I don't even know. I don't want to go into why we brought her in. We brought her in when we did. Palmer left and she came in, so it's sort of similar player. But you can say Palmer's maybe a 6-ish. But one midfielder went out. She was available. She was on a free, as the song says. So it's just a case of let's bring in this player. I mean, he's worked with her. He knows what he's going to get from her. So he's playing her maybe, and I feel like, I think a lot of people said that about Kate. I mean, Casey last year, we went into the Arsenal game. We didn't have a lot of players to pick from, but she trusted Martha and she played Martha. And then a lot of people said, well, why have you done that? That was a mistake. And then the goal that conceded right at the start. But no, maybe, you see that with managers when it's, the guy's just settling in, didn't have a pre-season, doesn't know a lot of the players. So, is he just sort of, I mean, he had a pre-season, but it was late and all this. Is it sort of, I know Stanley, so I know I'm going to get. Whereas if I play, say, Vilda, I don't know her yet.
Yeah.
So I trust, say, Selly because whatever, she's the captain and this and that. I know many people like her. And then, I don't know, Vilda. I mean, yeah, he's played a lot in the pre-season, so I don't know, but pre-season and WSL is different maybe. But I think Vilda's done well enough to start as well. And, Leon weren't linked to her for nothing. Like, properly tried to buy her. But she came, she's always sort of wanted to come to United. So I don't know.
Just touching on that one there. I think the coaching staff know. I think we know, the players know that this false nine was just a temporary thing. And it got us through a tough time where Martha wasn't fit and Alessia wasn't fit. But we still managed to get 9 out of 12 points by not having a proper 8 striker. So I think, credit where credit's due. Is not our best setup, but hopefully we keep Russo there as number 9 now that we know that she's fit enough to start at least. And I'll try to look at it a different way. Yes, we're not an 8 striker, but we still managed to get those 9 points out of 12. And Tooney's got some good stats to her name as well. And I'm sure Matthew can go into that detail tomorrow. So, that's it. We haven't spoken about one other player yet. And before we do, I think it was great to see the Man United official Twitter page saying one of our lyrics. What is it? Leah Galton one, Super Leah Galton or something. She was they said something. I can't remember what the exact words was. But they obviously know what we were
I think
saying.
that's what it was. Super legal.
Is that what it was? Yeah. And it's good to see, and it's also good to see when Sky was talking to them afterwards. We're not letting them get a word in edgeways, and players are laughing because they know it's coming. Sky know it's coming, but we're not doing any harm, and we're just showing a lot of love for the players, and you know that the players love that as well. Matt, starting off for yourself on this one, then Leah Galton got a goal and played really well.
Yeah, I think you know we've talked about this a lot. She tends to start slow. I know it was mentioned. I think it might have been by you, Emma, that maybe she'd possibly not been fully fit and so well. If that's the case, then you know that does explain why she's probably struggled. But to be fair, I was surprised because although it was Birmingham, I actually said, you know, I'd have possibly dropped her. Obviously, didn't realise that Hansen had a knock, but I did say, you know, I'd rather somebody else that was fully fit just be given a chance, just give Leah a little break and then bring her back in. But, you know, full credit to her because she came in yesterday and that was, you know, the Leah of old. I mean, listen, she might have had, you know, a few more shots and a few more goals and a couple, you know, more of them powerful runs, but it doesn't matter, you know, it was a start. She's got to start somewhere. And, yeah, it was just good. Just, you know, we know what we're getting from Leah now. And, you know, Vic says there it's a little warm-up for going into the derby and hopefully can tear City a new one next week, whichever of the 15 forwards they have is at full-back. But, yeah, promising signs, and let's just hope she kicks on now because it is a trend, you know. Started last season slow, the season before slow. I think with Leah, it's just again about managing her. You know, she's not completed a season where she's been injury free, so she's got to be careful with that a little bit. But we all know Leah on full form is the best winger in the league. I'll put that out there. So yeah.
Yeah, Emma, I'll bring you, boys, want to lead you in on this one. Even though we know Leah's not at full strength, she's still playing the full 90 minutes. She still obviously must be very fit to be able to do that game in, game out. But I just wanted to lead you in on that one and obviously speak and say what you want to say about Leah.
Yeah, well, obviously her best performance of the season so far. I think we can all agree on that. But she was getting the pace back now because the fullbacks were bombing on. It gave her license to not need to run as much, which is what her issue has been. So obviously, like say with the goal, that played to her strengths because she didn't need to do the full run before she gets to the byline and then be knackered and then not being able to do anything else. So that's where it's worked better in her favour. Glad she's got a goal. I think it'll give her confidence as well that she's moving in the right direction. Hopefully more to come.
Yeah. Go on, Nats. I know that you got something to say on this one.
The propaganda begins. The propaganda. The goat ton. That's her name. Leah Goat Ton. Yeah? Because I know everyone's like, yeah, she's not starting well. But like Matt says, that's sort of, you know, she had that bad injury. I think that was probably the worst injury she's ever had, really, last season. And I think Katie leaving, we all know, you know, she said all the stuff about Casey making her love football again. You know, I was slightly worried that, you know, well, I wasn't like fully worried because I always knew once she got that goal, bang, that would be it. And I think the minute she got that goal, the minute that song was ringing out around the stadium, you know, the smile at the end when, you know, there's a little video. I don't know if anyone's seen it yet because everything's gone down, but there's Tooney just singing a song and you can see her smile just beaming and her eyes and so bright and just happiness in her face. And that's the Leah. That is the Leah. That Leah is back. She's the best winger that I've ever seen in a women's game. And people might say this and that, say what you got to say, because, you know, for me, she's absolutely unplayable. And we saw that with her. Like I said, if Leslie was on when she was whipping them balls, oh my days, like, this is the Leah that we know and love, that we love to see, that gets all the songs going, that, you know, oh, it's everything. Oh, I'm so happy she got that goal now because it's bang the time, just when we need her. You know, I remember we played before lockdown and all that happened. We played Everton and we were there struggling before. Bang, Leah just comes on and we just annihilate Everton. And then she goes off and we're back to a bit struggling and concede too. So, you know, she's absolutely different class of a player. I always knew she would come and do what she was doing. She just needed that one goal. And I think versus Leicester, you know, she was playing well. There was times, and you could just tell even when Hansen cut it back to her, and then she, you know, so I just think, bang, she got that one goal. Right, we're back now. We're back. Golden season, mate.
Go on, Matthew. I haven't had anything to say on Galton just yet. What were your thoughts? Great to see her get that goal, wasn't it?
John, I started off with Leah, but yeah, I'll give you some
sorry,
more if
mate.
you want. No, it's all right. No, just to sort of finish off from what Nat said, you know, obviously, like she mentioned the Leicester game, and I think I'm trying to think now, it was at home. It was either Chelsea or Reading, obviously, because that's the only two we played at home. But there was one when she was sort of about 10 yards out and she lashed it over the bar. I think, you know, it's been coming, the goal, hasn't it? You know, she's had a few where she probably should have scored, and admittedly she's even come out and said, you know, I should have done better here and there, but she's got a goal that gets her up and running. And like I touched on when you asked me about 2 minutes ago, John, hopefully she can tear City's players a new one.
Now, just touching up with Carrie then. So Carrie could come on as a sub. A lot of people wanted her to start this game or get some minutes because she's like an out-and-out striker. That's the way we're starting to see her now. We know that she's ahead of Suso. Just what your thoughts on like any striker that's not particularly Martha Thomas or
with Carrie, I don't want to say that I don't know what she is. She could be a striker, she could be a winger. I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of these kids, that they could be. I think he's more flexible with, say, a Carrie than, say, a Stanny. Not like, I know they're in different positions, but, you know, Stanny will play here because obviously that's her thing, whereas he'll place maybe Russo on the wing because she's a bit younger and she can do a bit more. I think Carrie is you know, when I first saw Carrie, and I did like the run that she made, to be honest as well, so you could see it on the wing. But when I first saw her, and I've always said it, it's like watching Ella Toon. The way she runs after the ball, she does not let anyone sleep. You know, she'll be that press and then that second press and that third press. You know, you will not get away from her, kind of thing. You know, I just think with Carrie, I don't really mind where I see her play as long as she gets on and gets some minutes. Yeah, it was a little bit of a chance. What you said about is she ahead of Fuso? Maybe, and I don't know. You know, did he bring her on because she's ahead of her, or did he just bring her on because he thought, oh, well, no, Carrie will best suit this, and I want to see Fuso maybe more central? I don't know. You know, because I don't think Fuso's really a winger either, but I don't. It's so hard because I've only seen Fuso in little bits. So a little bit in pre-season and then a little bit I saw of her playing for the under-21 squad. And then even saw her versus Brazil, and she was on the wing, and she did actually look good on the wing for Brazil against, I can't remember who it was against. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with all these young players, really, I think. And maybe sort of Durham would be the time. But then I suppose if you start saying Durham, the City, I would even think the City game, the second one, you know, I think City will make a lot of changes for that as well. So why not play Carrie and Fuso in the Conti Cup?
Yeah, well, you kind of just jumped on the point I was going to bring into Emma regarding like the Conti Cup. So, I mean, is this kind of where you see Fuso and Carrie Jones playing this season, Emma?
Yeah, is the honest answer. We'll need rotation at some point, especially if we're trying to get some sort of silverware. But then again, if Mark finally finds his sweet spot in terms of his starting 11, then cup matches are going to be the one where we actually see that fruition of progression, getting to a cup final with said team. But like I say, we need to start seeing these players because it's not fair on Fuso because she's been here that long. She wants to get into the national team. She's getting called up for the national team. Not going to spend time with your club is fair enough if you're getting that game time, but she's not getting that. So will she, even January, will she even go on loan? Will she leave? Well, not leave, but like she if she wants that game time and wants to play for Brazil like she does, we need to start playing her. And she's a talent. We saw her at Rangers, and like that's obviously in different games. She's got talent. Otherwise, she wouldn't even be in the team. But yeah, we need to start playing them really.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Who was everyone's player of the match? I'm going to put on screen. I know, obviously, officially it went to was it Quinn? Was it defender? Which is kind of surprising.
To be fair, she had a blinder, literally.
She did have a good game, but usually it goes to, when you lose 2-0. It's very rare that you see one of those get the player of the match. But
who got the player of the match?
Louise Quinn.
Yeah.
I thought I thought Leah got it.
No, Louise Quinn got it.
We always give it the home team, Nat, when it's Sky. Just pick someone that looks half decent.
To be fair, it would have been about 8-0 if it weren't for Quinn, to be fair.
We're getting a few. So we've got one saying Leah, one saying Blundell, two for Blundell, 3 for Blundell. I mean, when you get 2 assists, it's easy to say that. I mean, Leslie didn't score, but she played really well. Galton got on the score sheet. Matt, I'll start off with yourself on this one.
Do you know what? There's literally probably about a good 3 or 4 you could pick from. Do you know what? I'm going to say Tooney. I just think, I'll go into more detail tomorrow, but I just think her form, my days, like, she literally must be the first player in the team sheet. And obviously, got a goal yesterday. Probably could have had, I think, one come back off the post and a bar. Creating chances, just an absolute nuisance to play against. Teams don't know whether to drop off, to go to her, to pick her up. Times her runs perfectly. She finds them little pockets of space. So, yeah, like I say, some very good shouts in the comments, but I'm just going to go Tooney. Yeah.
Do you want to quickly answer that one on screen before I move on to Nat?
Hopefully. And do you know who else I want to throw in there? So, not Sophie Bagley, sorry. Maria Edwards as well. I see her for the devs and I see she's posting on Instagram, scored 5 today. I assisted 4. And I'm thinking, why is she not even around the first team now? She's not got a loan, at least chuck her on the bench because...
Yeah,
she's got to be given a shot. So yeah, Sophie Bagley, yes. Maria Edwards, yes. And whoever else we fancy throwing him.
Nat, I mean, a lot of people are saying Blundell in the comments. Are you leaning that way, or are you going more towards the attacking side?
Don't know. I'm probably going to say. Sounds so. I mean, Blundell, yeah. And I think when I was watching it, I didn't really see her as much. I don't know. I think it's because she was always on the opposite side to us. I can't really remember seeing her in front of me. So it was far when I was watching her. So when she crossed it for Leah, she was on the far side. When she crossed it for Tooney, she was on the far side. So that's a fault on me. But I'm gonna have to say Leah, me, just because I think the goal, the way she was doing those balls, it was just. It's goal of the season, like I said, the goat's back. People were saying this and that. Oh, is she? No, the goat is here now. Yeah. Thanks.
So the comments are saying Blundell, Matt's saying Tooney, you're saying Galton. And it's a bit crazy considering she plays 60 minutes, but I'm going to say Leslie. So where were you, Emma?
I'm going to go a bit rogue. I do agree Blundell is close, but I'm going to go Jackie because she did a lot of the donkey work yesterday, making spaces and getting in there, and obviously that very nearly won the goal. Yeah, I'm going to go Jackie, I think.
I think that's the first time ever, if you include the comments, that's 5 of us all saying something different. But it's great because it shows that there's been 5 good players at least on the pitch, and that's obviously why we won. We're going to start wrapping up there. Matt, do you want to kind of give us the rundown for the week ahead? What people can expect?
Yeah, so obviously I'm back tomorrow with Emma. I've got Andy with me and Anthony. So we've got Man City preview. Touch more on Leslie, and obviously, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Tooney and Tooney's form. I'll probably throw in a little bit as well what Mark talked about earlier on, future plans on recruitment. And obviously, you mentioned getting our own training ground as well at some point. God knows when that'll be, but we'll throw that in there. Obviously, we've got Wednesday. Natalie's touching on last week's talking points of the NWSL. We've got you Thursday with Natalie. Friday Fans Forum. Saturday, myself and Benny should be live as well. Fingers crossed for this week. Mm-hmm. But yeah, before Saturday, we've actually got big game as well and match day content. And then Sunday, we're here, there and everywhere again. A little bit more match day content. So yeah, as per busy week, plus Gareth and Anthony's shows in there as well, because I'll get flattened if I don't shout them out.
12 o'clock on Tuesday and Friday, if you're not used to that routine just yet. 12 o'clock on Tuesday and Friday. bit of a quirky way of looking at things, but like one's a bit of a recap on the weekend just gone, and one's a bit more of a prediction show going into the weekend, but just like with a bit of a twist if you haven't seen those shows. Okay, so we'll wrap it up then. That's an hour gone. So thank you very much for Emma, Matt, and Nat for joining us, and we shall see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.